Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk about a horror game that doesn't really try to scare you in the traditional sense. No loud jump scares, no constant danger. Instead, Children of Clay focuses on something much quieter and honestly, much more unsettling. It's the kind of game that doesn't shout at you, it just sits there and lets the discomfort slowly sink in. And personally, I think that's where horror works best. Children of Clay is a point-and-click horror puzzle game released in 2024. It was developed by independent creator Balaz Ronyai, who released it under the alias Messier. What really surprised me is how this game was made. It was developed during horror game jams like Scream Jam, Cosmic Horror Jam in just a few days. And yet it feels far more intentional and focused than many full-length horror games. You can tell the developer had a very clear idea of what kind of experience he wanted to create, and he didn't waste time on anything unnecessary. The most striking thing about Children of Clay is its use of stop-motion animation. This isn't a digital model pretending to look handmade. The statue in the game was actually sculpted out of clay in real life. Each movement was photographed frame by frame and then animated manually. The result is something that feels stiff, slightly unnatural, almost wrong. But that's exactly why it works. To be honest, watching the statue move made me more uncomfortable than most jump scares ever do. It feels like something that was never meant to move, but does anyway. In the game, you play as an archaeologist examining a mysterious object placed on a desk. This object is known as Artifact 297. It was discovered in the Ural Mountains and appears to be a strange statue with a face embedded inside it. The game begins with a letter from a colleague. The letter mentions an accident that occurred at the excavation site and a sense of regret surrounding the artifact. From the very beginning, the game makes one thing clear. You are not here to save anything. You are here to understand, whether that's a good idea or not. Mechanically, the gameplay is very simple. You rotate the statue, zoom in to examine details. Search for keywords in a book beside it. That book is crucial. It's how you uncover the artifact's history, its myths, and eventually its purpose. What I really like here is that the game doesn't rush you. It forces you to slow down and pay attention. And with every new piece of information, you start asking yourself, do I actually want to know where this leads? As you dig deeper, you learn that the statue is made of cold iron, traditionally believed to protect against evil spirits. That alone raises questions. Then you discover an inscription written in ancient Hungarian. The word translates to Erdog, meaning devil. But the game doesn't portray Erdog as a simple demon. Instead, it introduces a myth involving a Taltos, a shamanic figure who trapped Erdog's egg inside the artifact. This being is described as a mumus, a dark entity that takes the form of a person's greatest fear. To me, this is where the game becomes really interesting. The horror isn't about a monster chasing you. It's about fear as something personal and internal. If the player uncovers every piece of background information correctly, the artifact begins to change. A black liquid starts leaking from the statue. A nail embedded in it can be removed. And once it is, the entity is released. The archaeologist suddenly finds themselves trapped in a dark cave with no visible exit. There's no dramatic escape sequence, no heroic moment, just the quiet realization that something has gone terribly wrong. The epilogue reveals that the protagonist has disappeared. Later, a new burial site is discovered, filled with statues identical to Artifact 297. Instead of being destroyed, they are handed over to universities for further study. And I think that says everything. The cycle continues. Curiosity outweighs caution. Knowledge comes before consequences. Children of Clay is short, quiet, and subtle, but it lingers. It's not a game for people looking to be startled. It's a game for people who enjoy slow burning, psychological discomfort. And honestly, those are the horror games that stay with me the longest. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.